8 a.m. will be on both channels with the 49er Wake Up. Damon, what did you think? First of all, before we get to this secondary football game, your favorite side, according to Baller, he threw it out there for Thanksgiving. What is your favorite side dish?
Well,
and they're regional, by the way. You can look at the map. There's all kinds of regions around the country where cornbread is big.
It's pretty normal. Like cornbread.
Yeah, I lived in Louisiana for a short time. Deep fried turkey.
Deep fried turkey is excellent.
Deep fried turkey's phenomenal. There was a summer. There was a. Well, I guess it's not summertime, but it happened in the summer as well, where several patios, several decks got burnt down by a deep fried turkey.
We should laugh, but yeah,
boil over, hot oil everywhere. But look, as someone who conducted the first ever Trent Baalke honorable Thanksgiving side dish draft, where he was like, "I'll take green beans, Damon."
Damon.
He even started his draft.
Lowry and Damon. I like Thanksgiving, but nobody tears an ACL during Thanksgiving.
I'm only looking for turkeys that are projects.
For those who don't know, Damon used to have Baalke on and just freaking roast him. Yeah, I mean, you had that guy. That guy was so afraid of his own shadow. I mean, you literally, he would never admit it, but you shook him. I mean, he was literally shook.
There was
every time he was on with you.
There was a time where I asked Trent, I said, "You don't want to answer any question I'm asking honestly. What color shirt are you wearing right now?" And he's like, "I'm wearing a white shirt. I'm wearing a white shirt."
No, it's funny you should ask that.
No, wait, stop. I get a text from Bob Sargent saying he's actually wearing a black shirt right now. He's actually wearing. He wouldn't be honest about the color of his shirt with you. Rye, I don't know if it was you. I thought I heard your voice say that turkey is a system entree. That is hysterical. It's only about what's around it. Well, in real life, I think you might be onto something, because to me, Thanksgiving has never been anything more than a vehicle for stuffing. The stuffing to me is the side dish. And Dan, as you were saying, cornbread stuffing is phenomenal. If you ever run into a really good cornbread stuffing,
is it sweet?
It is. But the only problem with a fried turkey is that you can't do in the bird stuffing.
Right.
And that to me is the weakness. That's why I'll never draft fried turkey, because stuffing's that important to me. My father and I used to argue over who had dibs on the final in the bird stuffing, because we would always make out of the bird stuffing, because you can only put so much stuffing in the bird. That in the bird stuffing was the equivalent of gold in my household.
Dude, let me tell you, there's one thing that I love making, and I'll go to Lenardi's and I will ask them for a turkey breast butterflied, right?
Yeah.
So they take it off the bone and they butterfly it, and they kind of make all these slices. Then you lay it out on like a cookie sheet, season it, the whole deal. Then you take your stuffing and you pack the stuffing in the turkey, and then you get the cooking string and you tie it all up. So now you've got this boneless turkey breast with stuffing inside.
Like turkey cordon bleu. It's exactly like a
bingo. And then when you let that thing cool a little bit, and then you do it in slices, and everybody gets not just a turkey, they get the stuffing in the turkey, moist. Oh,
I never liked stuffing until I got
incredible.
to be got on my own as an adult. Growing up as a kid, I always thought the stuffing coming out of the bird was the guts, and I didn't realize it was put in there. I thought it came.
It's the follies of youth, Dan. You learn as you get older. You know.
Dan was scarred by Thanksgiving Day. He thought he was eating blood and guts.
Which I've never had a fried turkey. Like, how fire is it?
Oh, dude.
Good.
So here's my brother-in-law did a fried turkey. Now I would think that it would be oily, right? I mean, doesn't that make sense? It's deep fried. You'd think it would be oily, but it actually is amazing. Why? Because like when you get a turkey, like the outside layers are like kind of dry, but the inside layer is still kind of, unless you wrap it in foil and everything and cook it perfectly, sometimes it's hard to get the outside and the inside the same. In a deep fried situation, the oil goes up through the canvas or through the carcass, I should say. And so the inside of it cooks evenly with the outside of it.
It's like
So
beer
it's
can
just-
chicken. It's
yeah,
like
just absolutely
it's,
perfect.
it's constantly, it's moist everywhere. It is very
Right.
juicy.
But it's cooked.
Very
It's also
juicy.
it's equally cooked on the meat that's closer to the bone than it is, the meat that's on the outside.
All right, are we
So-
done with this?
But it's
Are we
like
done?
it's like drafting like Josh Allen or Trey Lance or something like that. Like if it's in the wrong hands, you will burn your entire house down.
You may have to get rid of Ken Dorsey.
If you have the right,
you may have to get rid of
guys.
Ken Dorsey.
Yeah.
13 men on the field. Get rid of Ken Dorsey. 12 men on the field. It's Ken Dorsey. It's got to go.
Yeah.
Anyway, look.
Back to the Niners. What did you, Damon? Go ahead. You just jumped in last. What was your takeaway on the game today? I mean, obviously a great win for the Niners. It looks like they've lost Hufanga for the year.
That's bad. That's bad.
you
But what an interesting debut for Jair Brown. I saw a Guy Haberman tweet that Chase Young had actually had more snaps for the 49ers than Jair Brown before Brown came into the game. And we all know that Chase Young just got here. So he has that big mistake, and then he makes 2 plays in the end zone, one breaking up a pass on 4th down, the other ending the game with the interception in the end zone. So he represented himself well. I think he's a good player out of Penn State. He's a rookie. He's going to make mistakes, but the injury to Hufanga is not catastrophic because I believe that Jair Brown can play the role.
I agree.
But
I agree. Normally, I would say, come on, you've lost an all-pro type safety, and you're going to replace him with a rookie. You're freaking cooked. But you know what? Not in this situation. They're not. They're not
gonna be
cooked.
okay. I think he's going to be okay. I think it's perfection, no chance. But I think they're going to have a comparable player at the position quickly. Steve Wilkes, you're good in that secondary. Fantastic. Live up to your reputation on a short week getting ready for Seattle. Okay. Brock Purdy's getting better. He's getting better by the week. There's no such thing as linear growth. There's no such thing as no dips in the world of growth. There is no angle that looks like this unless you're cooking your books like Bernie Madoff. This is a lie. This doesn't exist in the real world. But Brock Purdy looks to be traveling a plane kind of like this. Again, in his worst game ever, it's a missed field goal that sends it into the loss column. And then in the 2 other games where he throws the 4 interceptions, he still throws for over 700 yards or has 700 total yards of offense to go along with what he did with his legs and a 70% completion percentage. Today, he turned a good game into a great game when he hit Ayuk on that 76-yard touchdown. And then he turned a great game into a career signature game when he went 3 for 3 for 54 yards and the 3-yard touchdown to Kittle that put the 49ers up 20. And, whenever you're on a list of 49er quarterbacks and the names are Steve, Joe, and Brock, that's a good place to live. And this guy just threw down the first perfect passer rating game since 89. And I mean, I don't know how you could possibly keep him out of the argument of top 5 quarterbacks in the vacuum of just this year. I mean, that's based on games played, statistics returned, not whatever mental hurdle you think need to be cleared.
So you're saying he's better than Josh Allen, better than Herbert, those guys.
He's having a better year than them. Yes.
Yeah.
I mean,
I know what you're saying.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if he's better. He's having the better trip. He's, everybody dropped the same acid. He's having the best trip there is, man. So it's hard to deny what
Josh Allen's up on the roof right now, picking off roofing tiles.
He's got bugs on his
with his eyes bulging out, and his girlfriend just left him.
Yeah. So just what Brock Purdy's doing is remarkable. If it had been prepackaged in a way where everyone had been preordained to rush to tell you how good he is, like I'm glad that the world keeps underestimating him, because the amount of gagging on Brock Purdy that would be done had this look, had you taken Brock Purdy's career and put it in Trey Lance, you'd already be sick of him. You'd already sick to death of him. He would have just shoved down your throat. Trey Lance, he's the greatest quarterback of all time. The minute he started playing in football, and Patrick Mahomes looked the fuck out because here's the next greatest thing ever. Like, it would be pounded down our throats. There's a business underestimating this guy, and that makes just what he's doing so special. I mean, what if this is really it? What if this is it, right? Thanksgiving.
Why wouldn't it be it?
What if this guy is seriously the heir apparent to the reputations of Joe Montana and Steve Young, and he is the next bona fide for about a decade among the best quarterbacks in all of football? If that really happens, holy shit.
I know. Well, let me ask you the rest of the group here. Do you guys think that this is do you think what we're seeing is actually what he is? Or do you think he's still in some heat check moment early in his career? What do you guys think? We've all watched a lot of NFL football, and we've now watched this guy for 18 games. I kind of think we've seen the good and the bad. I think he processes what he sees. The ball comes out on time. He's very accurate. He's super hard on himself. And at the same time, he's got this swagger and this confidence and he plays with this chip on his shoulder. And I think the good is that, and the bad is he tries to make plays even when they're not there sometimes. And he's turned the ball over, and he had 33 interceptions at Iowa State. So that might be kind of, the bad side of Brock, is that he occasionally is going to push the envelope and turn it over. But
isn't that where coaching comes into play? And isn't that where Kyle Shanahan and him?
Holmgren. I think of Favre and Holmgren. Favre coming out of Southern Miss turned it over a lot. And then he got with Holmgren. Holmgren kind of coached it out of him, so to speak, and made him enough of a system guy where he could still have his off schedule stuff, but he could be depended on. And Favre played really, really good football there and won a ring. He won one, right? He didn't. Did he win two or one?
One.
He went to two in a row. He lost the second one to Elway. But what do you guys think, Kev, Baller, Rye? Danny? What do you guys think? Do you think this is still kind of honeymoon Brock, or do you think we've seen the good and the bad?
Well, I'll say this. Conversation we're having right now about Brock Purdy
reminds you of Gabe Kapler.
Yeah. I'll say the same conversation I bet was going on back in 2001, 2002 with Tom Brady in the New England market. Is this guy for real? It's a 6th-round draft pick. I don't know. He's got to keep proving it. Then it's like after the second year, he's like, okay, this is Brock Purdy's. He's just completed his first full year if you look at games played in regular season. I think the sky is the limit. I think he is going to get better because he's going to refine. He's going to learn from his mistakes. He's going to have some bad games. You can expect in a 17-game season probably to have at least 2 or 3 bad games a year where you're going to throw some picks and you're going to lose games just because you made mistakes. But Purdy's the type of guy that will learn from those mistakes, as we saw he did in those 3 games that they lost, the 2 that he threw interceptions toward the end of the game. He's learned from those already, and he'll make more mistakes. He'll misread. He won't see a backer or whatever underneath, and he'll miss it. But so does every other quarterback in the history of the NFL. Brett Favre is considered one of the greatest quarterbacks ever, led the entire National Football League in the history of interceptions. I mean, look his record. He was a gunslinger. But I think Purdy is a little more composed than Brett Favre. He's definitely not going to make those type of mistakes that Favre continually made. I think Brett Favre's last pass of his career, unless he had one more year afterwards, was the interception in the NFC Championship to New Orleans. He totally made a bonehead move, tried to make a play. All he had to do is throw it away, and they would have kicked a field goal. So I think Purdy has a little bit more of a mental game that will eliminate some of those crazy down spiral moments.
I think people also just don't know their quarterback. They don't know their NFL history. I saw Joe Montana throw multiple picks in that 81 NFC Championship game.
He threw 3.
I saw Steve Young's first playoff game. Guys, go look it up. He played the Washington Redskins. I think he turned it over 4 times. Now, the Niners were so freaking great then. They still won. But Steve Young had 4 turnovers, I believe, in his very first playoff game. You know, how would that be responded to now? Now it would be like, oh, my God. You know, there'd be 19,000 morons tweeting out, he's not him. You know, I mean, it's like, you know.
We've seen some bad quarterbacks where, you know, I like Damon's analogy there is pitcher, you know, we've seen some quarterbacks where they just, you know, they're going straight down. I mean, we see it in New York, right? Zach Wilson was benched today. His career, in all likelihood,
how about that draft?
Done in New York.
How about that draft?
Yeah.
We were debating who's the best quarterback in that draft. They're all crap right now. Let me hit a couple supers because people are demanding it. One of them's here for Damon. HB Nate says, is the sleeve new for Purdy on the sideline? I'm watching in the upper deck. Was he wearing a certain sleeve, guys, today that I didn't see? Did you guys see a sleeve on Brock?
I didn't notice. I don't track who's wearing a sleeve the way I don't track who's wearing a leg brace or anything. Like I didn't notice. I didn't notice at all.
Let me call my sleeve guy. You got
a sleeve guy?
Kev's got a sleeve guy.
I'm getting my sleeve guy on the phone.
That's called Burrow's sleeve guy.
Roberto Davis says Niners didn't get Surtain because they had to keep their first round pick to draft an offensive tackle. I feel like this is the last year for Trent. Yeah, I mean, I think you're absolutely right on that one. I don't know about the last year for Trent, but I do think that they have earmarked that number 1 pick as an offensive tackle. Altcoin Emperor says Brock Purdy has a passer rating of 157.3 over the last 2 starts. That's the highest passer rating by any NFL quarterback over a 2-start span since quarterback stats were first tracked in 1950.
Right. And because we started tracking training camp interceptions 4 years ago and pretending that they were a big deal, we track those too. But those don't matter, and this does. That's these data points that we are getting are extraordinary. I mean, if the only thing that you might not like about Brock is the package of Brock Purdy, the statistics are undeniable. The guy's playing at a really high level. 5 interceptions, is that it? The 3 today gives him 18 on the year. Did he come in with 15 touchdowns? No, he's got 8. He's 8. I mean, this is
18 touchdowns. Was it 5 picks?
Yeah.
18 touchdowns, 5 picks. Green Gospel says Grant going on and on hating on Purdy right now. No, come on.
There's no way. There's no way he's doing that.
There's no way.
All right. I'm gonna. Sorry.
Oh, go ahead, Ryan. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to get I'm just trying to be the negative guy. I'm just going to try on the negative hat guy for a second. Okay. This is going to be, I'm getting ahead of this take because this is going to be a lot of arguments in about 3 years.
God
I think this is Brock Purdy. I really do. But like, let's just imagine he plays this exact way for the next 3 years and the Niners maybe make a Super Bowl and lose and don't win a Super Bowl. All of a sudden, Purdy's contract's going to be up and he's going to be one of the, top guys in the league. That's what people are going to be saying. Like, I don't know if they can win a Super Bowl necessarily with Brock Purdy getting paid like $65 million or whatever it's going to be at that point.
Well, the one thing you got to remember is this is a team that would have had, if they didn't make this Trey Lance trade, 3 more first-round draft choices on it. Right? So we're not
just 2.
Are 2. 2 more first-round draft.
They gave away 2. They swapped their 1 pick.
But then they traded Trey, so you kind of there's your 3rd right there, right? I mean, you traded
essentially 3 swings and misses at number 1.
Oh, I guess if you look at it that way, yeah.
Yeah, that's the way we're looking at it, Dan.
Okay,
all right. And I don't, you can be on, you can be in La Boca Vista, Del Boca Vista's, board of trustees and still.
I just resigned this week. I'm a free man.
Oh, did you?
I heard you were impeached.
Yeah. There's a lot of controversy coming out of Arizona. Jesse Wade says, Damon, just wanted to say your spicy rant on the Brock hater last week was epic as AF. I don't want to swear because we have women and children nearby, but he says, I loved every second of it. Anyone else want to see Ronnie Bell as a kick returner?
Well, number one, thank you very much. Appreciate the compliment. Number two, I want to see Ronnie Bell more involved, the same way I want to see Jordan Mason involved. But I'm not going to complain about involvement when the Niners look like they're winning games in near overwhelming fashion. And, but for a few red zone miscues on their part, they're running away with this one. And look, Tampa deserves some credit out there. And, put a little respect on Baker Mayfield's name.
He played well.
You know what he reminds me of? He's a more highly regarded Jimmy Garoppolo. He's the kind of guy. He's the kind of guy who his teammates love because he's a badass and he's a little bit of a leader and he's a fighter out there. And he made a block on Nick Bosa today that worked. That's a pretty impressive thing for a guy like Baker Mayfield to do. But then he also uncorks like 3 or 4 passes that make you go, where are his eyes? What is he looking at? That should have totally been an interception. He's high.
He actually is taking care of the football pretty well this year so far.
He has, but boy, today, I mean, he could have had a 4 interception afternoon today. He really could have. I mean, you had Greenlaw have one bounce right off.
He dropped a duck.
You had someone
Warner.
else. Warner had one too. You had, Warner's would have been a little bit more of a, oh my God, level of interception.
Lenore.
There were a couple that could have really.
Lenore had one early. Where he almost, wasn't the first play?
First play of the game almost.
Charvarius Ward had one.
Yeah. Charvarius Ward had, and Baker has some guts though, man. He'll stick it in there. Even if there's not a lot of room, I do think he's a pretty good competitor. 2 more supers, and I got a question I want to ask you guys. Matthew Rowley says, I listen to a lot of WEEI, and these are the exact conversations that people were having about Tom Brady. Everyone wanted him benched before the first Super Bowl. I believe that. I mean, it's just the nature of, it's NFL. There's so much passion about the NFL. People think they know what they're watching because they've seen every play, but there's so much that go into the game plan that you probably don't know what you're watching. And I'm not trying to rip anybody. I'm just saying there's a lot that goes into it. I always found baseball and football funny from the standpoint of, in baseball, you can have all the information that like Kapler or any manager has when he's deciding, do I pinch hit or do I not? It's like, what's he hitting against this pitcher? What's he hitting in the last 10 days? What's he hitting off lefties? What's he hitting off righties? You could quickly look at those numbers, and yet people will be like, oh no, you can't question the manager. But then they'll get in football when there's like a million more variables, including injuries and game planning and trying to self-scouting and everything else that goes into it. And yet, because they watch every play, they'll be like, Shanahan should have done. It's like, dude, you have no idea. Shanahan's spending, 120 hours getting ready for games. You're watching 3 hours of a game one time and speaking with total conviction about how he effed it up. I mean, it's like the level that people will go in football to question the coach with no knowledge is staggering when you consider that the baseball fan won't question the manager when they have all the information that they need.
Larry, it just shows you that people are only watching a TV show. And that's all that a lot of people are just watching a TV show, and there's constant close-ups of the 2 most important characters according to the TV show. And the 2 most important characters are the quarterback and the coach. So it's easiest to throw slings and arrows at both of them, or just heap sometimes undeserved praise on the both of them when there's so much more going on. There is no more rabidly consumed yet less understood sport than football.
No, it's totally true. Let's be honest about it. It is men's soap opera. Look how many people wanted to say that the reason that the Niners beat Jacksonville was that Steve freaking Wilkes changed where he sat. I mean, come on. That made the coverage tighter? That made the linebackers not miss tackles? I mean, it's laughable. But the real difference was you took 4.65 40 time Isaiah Oliver off the field, who can't cover, and you replaced him with 4-4 flat Ambry Thomas, who's has great speed and can cover, or at least can cover better. And that was the difference. That was the wrinkle. That was the real story, not where the fuck Steve Wilkes decided to sit. This one is interesting. What is it? J.R. Beckhold. He says Grant said he wasn't sure if Purdy was the best quarterback on the field today. Oh God. Stop, please stop.
Look, the only thing I'm tired of just talking or ripping or anything, but here's the deal. My point is you can't speak on authority. I mean, people get things wrong, but then there's another thing entirely when you prove implicitly you don't even know what you're looking at. And if that is true, my man still has absolutely no idea what he's even looking at. Okay. If you watch today's game and you're not sure who the better quarterback was, how you have chosen to cover sports for a living is I don't get it. I don't understand it. Again, it must be performative. It must be performative.
Kev doesn't like it when we rip people. So let's
No, I was just gonna say. I mean, he had a perfect passer rating, and the other guy almost threw like 3 picks. So I don't know how you could say that.
Yeah, I got a question for you guys, especially this more for you, Larry, because you were at training camp all year. Have you noticed anything with Purdy's arm strength? To me, it looks like it's getting stronger the last few weeks than it was earlier in the year. I noticed there's more zip on the ball. Do you think his arm is getting healthier?
I totally agree, Danny. And it's a little bit of a nuanced thing, but I asked Brock, how did you spend your bye week? And he's like, well, he went to Iowa and this and that. But then as far as physically, he's like, I lifted, but I didn't throw. And so I just think that, it's kind of like, when we were kids, we used to play tons of strikeout, and the more you throw, the stronger your arm gets, but you still have to rest it. Right. And there is no rest for an NFL arm, right? You just keep throwing and throwing and throwing and throwing. So I think the same way like Brandon Crawford could get dead arm, I think some of these quarterbacks get dead arm. I absolutely agree with you. The last 2 weeks, I mean, look at the ball that he put where he led George Kittle against Devin Lloyd last week in Jacksonville. That was an amazing throw. Then he led him with it. I mean, that had to be 40 yards down the field. He couldn't step into it. He couldn't follow through. And yet there it was. I mean, so, and today, I mean, he threw 4 or 5 lasers in the middle of the field to Ayuk.
So noticing the more zip on the ball, the touchdown to Ayuk, as I mentioned, was 41 yards in the air from where he let it go to where Ayuk caught it. The question is, will we see, as Purdy's arm is getting stronger and we're seeing him throw down the field a little bit more, will we see Danny Gray this year?
It's funny because, it's funny that you asked that question, because last week we asked Steve Wilkes about Jair Brown, and he's like, it's funny you guys brought him up because we were just discussing how Jair Brown's looking better and better and better. And then I asked Shanahan today, I said, have you been able to tell in the last few weeks about Jair Brown? And he said, yeah, he's really been coming on. And they asked him about Danny Gray. I think maybe I asked him about Danny Gray, or somebody asked him about Danny Gray this week, and he said that Danny Gray's ready. They're just he's ready to come off the off whatever injured list. Is he on the PUP or NFI or I don't know.
I think he's on IR.
He's in IR.
But imagine
he's ready. They're just waiting for an opportunity.
You got a better chance of seeing Gray's Anatomy out on the field. All right, you got a better chance of seeing.
I don't know, man. I think there's a twist there. If they can add that element, that it changes Kyle's game planning, because if you can keep teams honest, now you no longer can play straight further up in the box. I want to see the deep game. That's the one area that the Niners have really lacked since Steve Young?
Well, it would be nice now that Brock is throwing the ball down the field consistently and with some zip. It would be nice to see if Danny Gray on a go pattern could create separation and really, you want to break down a defense and make them look different. Just, bust them with a go pattern down the seam to somebody who runs 4-2-8, and then watch everything start to crumble.
Oh yeah,
You know,
I watched
I'm not gonna believe in Brock Purdy until he throws a pass 86 yards in the air all the time. I want him to be able to go from his end zone to attacking the other end zone. A real franchise quarterback would be able to complete 88-yard air passes. I've done it in Madden, so it can't be hard.
Tell you what, Danny Gray is fire in Madden. I have to put him in.
He's durable in Madden. He's durable.
I mean, I've seen the kid at SMU as highlights. He's not just a go route receiver.
No, he's got ball skills.
Yeah,
and he's also bigger, stronger than he was last year. But my question is how many routes can he run before he's back on the IR?
Jeez.
I did say hi to Drake Jackson today in the locker room, and Drake is on the IR, and hopefully he'll be making his way back.
Does he know why he's on the IR, or is it a phantom IR?
No, he's on the IR because he's hurt, but also he needs to get better, and he knows it. Matthew Rowley says, my only concern with Brock is his play in the fourth quarter when down, but I think he'll figure that out too. The kid is unbelievable. We have this one from Merry Christmas, who says, Bob Nightingale of the USA Today reported today the Yankees and the San Francisco Giants are widely viewed as the co-favorites now to sign free agent center fielder, first baseman Cody Bellinger.
Hopefully it becomes a New York
Wait
Yankee.
a second. Let's put that through the Giant news computer. Boop, 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 boop. Oh, Cody Bellinger will be a New York Yankee. That's what I got out of that.
There was an illusion that happened. I'm a Cubs fan. There's an illusion that happened. He had a good year in Chicago. He's a very good defensive center fielder. He always has been. He can run like the wind. He doesn't hit the ball hard. He had an awful lot of CNI, got lucky, dropped in, hit him where they ain't, gets credit for that, but he doesn't hit the ball hard.
You saying he's like a dink and dunk center field first baseman?
He's a dink and dunk hitter, Larry. And he also was in a division where they don't have the book on him like the National League West does. I think it'd be a disaster for him to return. You want him to be a Yankee. You don't want Cody Bellinger for the price that he's going to come at.
Wait a second. The Giants center fielder this year was who, Danny?
Yastrzemski.
Their Giants first baseman was who this year?
Yastrzemski's back, baby.
Wade.
Cody Bellinger, please come here. Oh my God. We got this one as well from San Bruno Mike. Ayuk's 76-yard touchdown was a thing of beauty. He's making DBs look foolish.
And not only on that play, a play I love from BA, there was numerous that I liked, but how about the cheat motion? Right, I feel like the Dolphins kind of popularized that one where he's running cross formation, then he turns it into a dig across. BA, his route running has been phenomenal. I say that on in-breaking routes, he runs these in-breakers, post, slants, digs, as good as any wide receiver in the NFL. And while I'm talking, I wanted to answer the question on Brock Purdy. Is this who he is, right? Obviously, these great performances.
Is he him?
Is he him? What I want to say is the best is yet to come. This kid is only in his second year, right? And just with how decisive he is and how accurate he is, 80% of the time, it feels like he plays within structure, going through Shanahan's progressions, 1-2. And what I love is how he doesn't see anything open. He checks it down to McCaffrey, who seemingly always makes the first guy miss. But Brock Purdy is a playmaker, and the best is yet to come.
Him is he, according to Joel Martinez. You know who else is he? JD. JD is he. And I was just saying it earlier today. Him is he. No, but JD joins us. JD.
By the way, I'm sorry. I got to go. I hear absolute bedlam upstairs. It's bath night. I've been on I got to go take care of kids. JD, take over. You are the most perfectly qualified person to take over my box in the 6-man box show. Thank you for having me on, Larry. Great to see all of you guys. I love coming and talking football with you. Watch it 8 a.m. tomorrow morning, 49ers Wake Up. Be there. Hit subscribe. Thank you very much. Happy Thanksgiving.
There you go. Damon Bruce. Now we can really have some fun. No, I'm just joking. But
6-man box. I like 7 in the box.
You've always said that. You have always said that.
I'm more of an Octobox guy, but it's fine.
Are you?
Yeah.
We could also mix it up a little bit and go with Baller in the center square. We could go with Rye, who's he's got the look at that
A fancy camera. Yeah.
Rye's got fancy camera. Rye also has plants in the background. I mean, look at that. There's a guy who knows what he's doing.
Rye. Good lighting. I've always got shitty lighting in these random booths at Levi's.
There's Kev in
I'm on the portable setup right now.
The portable setup. We got Danny, who's a little off center, but very, very popular with the older part of the demographic. and then we have JD, who's, a man who's seen a lot of Warrior basketball. All right, and we won't talk Klay Thompson. And by the way, Kev just sent me.
Oh yeah, sent me the news on Jordan Poole.
Look at this. Do you see that? Well, maybe I put myself
the
in
Wizards.
Box.
The
Where
Wizards
am I? I'm
on
my own show. I'm behind the New York style Italian sausage. Okay, so look at that. Look at that right there. This says Wizards are likely to move on from Jordan Poole as team officials don't view him as cornerstone material.
Took him 12 games to figure that out? 15 games? Holy crap.
Seriously.
I would be so mad if I was a Wizards fan. Fuck.
Let's go back to the normal box. Here we go.
Who's going to want that contract as badly as he's playing?
Maybe they'll trade him for Draymond.
Maybe trade him for CP3. Let's see if wouldn't that be something? Before we get JD's thoughts on this game, let me ask you guys this: the Niners play Thursday night, then they've got the Eagles, then they've got Seattle. This is the turn for home here. What's your primary concern? Is it Afonga now that he's hurt and Jair Brown? Is it the run defense? I mean, the Niners don't stop the run particularly well. Tampa Bay doesn't run it particularly well. Is it pass defense? Is it the pass rush? Is it the offensive line? Is it Shanahan in a big moment? Is it Purdy in the fourth quarter? I mean, what would you say is your primary 49er concern coming out of this, beat down of the Buccaneers? Baller, go ahead. You start us.
Yeah, I'm going with the pass defense. I still have some questions on the back end in terms of coverage. Charvarius Ward, I thought, played okay today. At least he didn't get flagged, to my knowledge, because the 3 games before this, he had 7 flags in those 3 games. So I was happy to see him clean up that aspect. That being said, I felt like there was some bend but don't break today, with the defense giving up some completions, especially in the second half. And then, Ambry Thomas, I thought he played okay, but, and now, you got a new piece to work into the mix in Jair Brown. So I'm going with the pass defense as my biggest question mark right now.
Kev, we'll go that direction, and we'll go Rye and JD, and we'll move around.
Yeah, this is probably not like a concern, but the one thing that I've noticed is that the Niners pretty much play 2 games, or except for the Rams game, but it's been you lose in a close game at the end, or you dominate your opponent. And I would like to see them win a game where it's close, and
you want to see them win the grimy games.
Yeah, I mean. Yeah, I want to see them win a grimy game, and that's just more for my own sake. It's not like they can't win games and kill their opponents every time. That's great, but I would like to see, Purdy do it in the fourth quarter. I think he can do it, but I would like to see that.
Rye, what do you think? What's the primary concern, despite the victory today?
Well, yeah, I like what Kev said. I mean, it'd be nice to actually see something like the Lions win today, like. Purdy throws a couple interceptions, and then they find a way to just come back in the end and in just a mucked up game. The concern, I don't really know where to place it. I guess you'd maybe say the offensive line when they're in obvious passing situations, which is like when they're down. I feel like that's when the O-line starts to look a little shaky. When there's no real threat of running and Purdy's just back there. Yeah, I mean, I think that's just something that they're going to have to deal with for, I really kind of think they're going to need to like score first or at least keep it close in all of these games if they're going to win the Super Bowl. I don't see them getting down 14 and coming back on a really, really good team.
JD, what do you think? What's your primary concern about the team?
Health, and I think it's health of first and foremost the skill players, the eligibles. It's it starts with McCaffrey and Debo and Ayuk and Kittle. I think you need them all to win the Super Bowl, and I think we saw that when one or two were banged up or playing through something or out of the lineup. Everything as far as the 49ers offense started to look completely different. So I think they need to have everybody. And then defensively, they are a front running team. To this point, I'm not sure that they can't come back. A lot of times when good teams come back, they come back against bad teams like the Lions did today against the Bears. And so it's a catch-22, right? Do you really want to be down 12 to a bad team if you're the 49ers and have to come back? Like, they haven't really needed to do that at this point, which I think is a credit to them. I think no, not to go all Lions, but it's, I think the Lions have had a few tells in some games that they've won, kind of like they did today, that maybe they aren't really quite as good as their record would indicate, should there be a future, playoff matchup, maybe with a team like the 49ers. Like, I personally think the 49ers would stomp the Lions if they played them in a meaningful game in either building, whether it's at Ford Field or whether it's at Levi's Stadium. I think they would heat up Goff. They'd force Goff into some mistakes. And look, that's a super talented offense. There's no doubt. But we're kind of in that time of year, not to get off on a tangent, where you do start looking at the standings and you think, well, damn, the Niners would probably go to Detroit if, things were, like 2-3, if the Lions were the 2. Still time to shake that out. The Lions haven't played the Vikings yet or anything, but I think the Lions would have a hell of a time stopping the Niners. Like, I think the Niners, especially if they had all their guys, I think they might score 50 points on them, to be perfectly honest, if they have all their guys. I mean, it's literally Hutchinson is the guy you got to worry about on that defense. And if you can contain him even a little bit, I think you can just have a field day against them. So storybook season, they're a really good team. I was wrong about Dan Campbell, who I pretty much called a joke, from his hire.
I did too. The guy was talking about biting kneecaps and, I don't care if you got 3 fingers and 1 ass cheek. I'm going to kick your ass. Remember that?
Yeah, it's working, and they play their ass off for him. And look, it looked bad in the middle of last year. They were 1-6 off of a bad year the year before, and they held it together. They went 7-2 at the end and didn't make the playoffs based on, I think, Seattle coming back and winning in the final week of the season. So they took that spot. Otherwise, the 49ers may have been playing them last year. I guess they would have ended up playing Green Bay last year, the way it worked out if Green Bay had beaten them on the last day of the season. But anyway, health among the skill players for the 49ers, and then defensively, to bring it back on point, I do think the secondary is shaky, and I think it gets shakier as well as Jair Brown played. I know he was a highlight tonight with the 2 key plays. Having a rookie starting safety, if that's where the 49ers are going to have to be, and it looks like that's where they are going to have to be, I think that could be problematic. And the defense does look more vulnerable than it has, and they're capable of having those games like they did against Jacksonville, where they're flying around and they're dominant. But that was a reinvigorated, refreshed, pissed off defense, that really wanted to make a statement after admittedly going, they went through 8-9 weeks of the season getting up to the bye where they admitted they were kind of broken. Like, they were tired. So what's it going to look like after you got to play 8 more weeks? And maybe you're still taking pieces away, and then you got to start winning multiple playoff games. So those would be the 2 things for me.
For me, I'm worried about the health of Dre Greenlaw, because Greenlaw is such a vital component of their run game and their run stop unit. And I would say the other one, this Niner team reminds me a little bit, kind of got back to Ryan and Kev's point. It kind of reminds me a little bit of the Warriors in the early days, when the Warriors always had to win. They always had to have the feel good going. The Niners, it's like, to win, they almost have to have this like feel good. where it's like it's a party and they're
vibes.
overwhelming.
The vibes have to be a certain way, Larry. The
vibes have to be a certain way, but they also need like a big margin. It's like I kind of wonder how Shanahan and how this team would play on both sides of the ball if they were involved in a 4-quarter game against an equally talented opponent and a back and forth game. Do they have the kind of mental resolve and stick-to-itiveness to get through that kind of a grimy type game? I think we're going to find out. I think the Philly game is going to be like that. I think the Ravens game is going to be like that. I think the playoffs are promised to be like that. And I was a little concerned about the safety play just overall. I know I love Hufanga, but I don't think he's a perfect player. And I like Gibson, but I know he's not a perfect player. I kind of think that Jair Brown may be better than people think. So I'm not that worried about Jair, but I'm a little worried about their safety play. I'm a little worried about the fatigue factor with Greenlaw. And I'm kind of worried about, do the Niners need to be in this like feel good mode to win games? Danny, you'll round us out on this one. So we're coming towards the end of our stream here, but go ahead, Danny. What's your biggest concern?
Yeah, you guys kind of hit on it a little bit. I've been thinking about this.
We'll skip Danny. No,
with the safety situation. I'm wondering, do you go out and sign a veteran? I know Jaquiski Tartt's last time he was there was the dropped ball against the Rams.
Right.
But he's a veteran. He's only 31. He's a free agent. He knows the system.
When did he last play this year, though?
He didn't even play last year.
Did he not play at all last year?
He played.
I think he was on Philly's practice squad for a while, for a little bit.
If he's been in a practice squad, at least he's out there getting reps in practice at least or something. But I don't know. He's not like he's doing a Kurt Warner thing, working at the grocery store or anything right now. Isn't he on somebody's practice squad?
Tart, aisle 7, cleanup.
Now he has not played in the NFL since 21.
Since 21, that's a little rough then.
Yeah, that's probably asking too much.
That's a little too much. But do they try and poach somebody off of somebody else's practice squad that's got some?
Well, I'll say this: I'm in favor of moving the trade deadline back in the NFL because there's, look at you. You had to decide who you want to trade for on the 1st of November. You have all of November, all of December, and if you go to the playoffs and go to the Super Bowl, you got all of January. You got 3 full months of football where guys could go down left and right and do. So I don't know. It just seems to me I'd rather have like a, instead of week 11 or whatever, week 8 or whatever. I'd like it to be more like week 12, week 13, as far as the bye or as far as the trade deadline. Let me read a couple more supers and then we'll get JD's quick thoughts and then we'll probably call it quits here. Bang Bang says, my guy Barry, a baller, is too quiet. What are your thoughts on what seems to be a lack of physicality down the stretch with the run game? Why couldn't we close them out on the ground? The O-line was average today as well.
Bang, bang. I appreciate that. Let me jump in. When you got guys like Bruce on and JD and sometimes you got to divert, right? You got to divert to some of these legends up here. But to answer your question, they had a penalty kill a drive. I thought, Juice had a penalty that set him back, 1st, 2nd, and 15, something like that. There was also a sack late in the game that kind of killed the drive. At that point, they were just trying to run the clock out. It felt like the Niners had a grasp on that game, but a penalty and a sack kind of led to some 3 and outs, which gave the Bucks a chance late. But we know the Niners had that game in hand.
Yeah, this one from Daza, guys, who says, LK, I asked you during the week if you were concerned about playing down to the level of competition. I know we won this game, but this should have been a blowout. I just think that the Niners, once this game more than anything, they went into defensive mode that reminded me of week 1 at Heinz Field against the Steelers, where it was like they were content to just let the Bucks complete passes as long as the clock kept moving, and they had multiple score lead, and they were I think you can throw this box score out. I really believe if the Niners had really competed all the way through this game. I think this game would have been a bigger blowout. I think they were just trying to get to the finish line. And so, like, how many out routes did Baker Mayfield throw to Evans and Godwin and Otten and seam routes? And they were there. They didn't allow the big play, but they kept allowing first downs. I just think in some ways, I think they lost a little bit of their edge once they had the big lead. Adam Durst says, Larry, who is more annoying, or what is more annoying or overused? He is him, or give him his flowers. What do you guys think?
It's the him thing. It's the him thing.
Yeah, the him stuff it's new.
He is him.
Old. Yeah,
that is.
I don't like the flowers stuff. I see
I'll
it too much.
The one that gets me. The one that gets me right is it is what it is. What the fuck does it is what it is mean? I mean, has there ever been anything that means less than it is what it is? Hicks says Kev wants the good old Jimmy G heart stopper games. I don't miss those games. It was so stressful. I think Kev just wants. I don't think he's rooting for him. I think he just doesn't. You just want to.
We haven't seen him.
You want to see
everything in between.
A little bit more.
How about you go win it? How about you go win at Philly when the game's, you're down 4 in the fourth quarter? Good back and forth game. It's 20-16, and you go down. You need a touchdown, and you win it, and you get a stop. I think that would do against one of these good teams left on the schedule. In particular,
I think that's a good point. Dazza says apart from the first big gain, Jair Brown was good. Yeah, he was. And talking to him in the locker room, he's a great young guy. He really is. I mean, he is going to be a really good player. Dazza says the O-line is still a concern for me. Once Banks comes back, they might want to try replacing Burford with Feliciano. I think that's actually very likely to happen. The Niners see what they have in Feliciano, and they really believe that Feliciano can play regularly, and I think he will. And then we have this one from Batman 29. Love the Niners, but I doubt their cornerback ability. Well, it sounds like, is that a comeback?
Yeah. Yeah. Comeback ability.
Well, cornerback or comeback. But yeah, I do too. I mean, we haven't really seen it. And it's kind of an unknown until you see it. You really don't know if it's in there or not, if they have the ability, whether it be Shanahan or Purdy or just the mindset of the team. Can they come from behind? They've almost gone wire to wire on some of these games, and there hasn't been a ton of pressure. You kind of wonder if the screw. I mean, the one thing about Philly's battle tested as hell this year. They keep winning all these tight games, so it's like in some ways you got two opposite things. I actually believe that winning tight games helps you be more battle tested, and so that concerns me a little bit about Philadelphia.
I'm scared of playing Philly in the second round. I kind of think that's what's gonna. I think the Lions are gonna get the 1 seed, and that's gonna really suck to have to go at Philly, and that's not even the that's not even the NFC Championship game. Like at Philly, then at Detroit. That's tough.
What's Detroit's schedule?
Last question about the.
I know they play the Vikings a couple times. No, I'm just curious on Detroit's schedule. I think Detroit's gonna slip up. Here and there.
Their schedule is pretty easy. It's
they got the Cowboys later in the season in Dallas.
Home Packers, at Saints, they could lose that. At Bears, home Broncos, then at Vikings, at Cowboys, home Vikings. But Phillies is Chiefs,
a lot tougher.
At Chiefs, home Bills, home Niners, at Cowboys, at Seahawks, then Giants, Cardinals, Giants.
Hope the Eagles lose tomorrow, and then the Niners keep winning and beat them, and then they're tied with record. They'll have the head-to-head.
Yeah, what do you guys think on that one? Do you think KC gets them tomorrow night at Arrowhead?
And I think it depends if Taylor Swift's there or not. It all hinges on her, I think.
Sounds like she's gonna be.
And her mom.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, the parents are meeting tomorrow, I'm told.
I'm definitely making my bet then on the Chiefs if she's there.
My girlfriend said, "Hey, I'm looking forward to Monday night." I said, "Why?" And she says, the parents are meeting. I go, what are you talking about?
Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
This is like that show, TV show.
Taylor's parents are meeting Kelsey's parents or something.
Oh, my God. All right. Here's a question for you guys. If all of us were hosting a sports talk show tomorrow, what would be your 3 topics? Niners obviously are 1. Klay Thompson, does he get traded? Is that one?
Yeah, Warriors are dead.
Warriors, yeah. There's a Warrior concern about Klay. I'll believe the Giants will sign a big name free agent when it actually freaking happens and not before.
Jeez. Yeah.
That's your headline for each team, no doubt.
Yeah.
I think the 3 slot, I'd go Turkey Talk.
Yeah, exactly. Rise thinking ahead.
What's your favorite Thanksgiving side?
Yeah,
we had that already.
We already had
that already.
Baller threw that out.
We actually did that.
We already went with that.
Well,
JD, what are you going with?
well, I'm a big of the common ones. I love the mashed potatoes, but I like Brussels sprouts with a little bacon mixed into the mix. That's kind of my outlier. And I've also I never
Brussels
did this.
Sprouts. I would never have guessed.
Oh yeah,
that.
cook
No,
up some Brussels sprouts.
Sleeper pick.
Mac and cheese is the other one. For me,
See, it's funny. Mac and cheese is a staple. It's a staple,
some people don't.
Yeah, some people. It's a big staple around the country, but we never had mac and cheese for Thanksgiving,
and we didn't either in California, man. But I love it. I've had it the last few years, and I love it as a side. So I view that as non-traditional. But I've talked to other people that are like, no, we do mac and cheese every year. So,
hey, last question. Where are you guys with? Where are you guys right now? Here it's this is week 11. Super Bowl wise. I mean, the Ravens this week lose. They won the game over Cincinnati, but they lost Mark Andrews for the year. Cincinnati lost the game and lost Joe Burrow. Buffalo won the game today, but their offense still looks like S. And their schedule's brutal. And they probably don't even make the playoffs, right? Right? Don't they have a really rough schedule?
They're not gonna. I don't.
Yeah.
think.
So right now we did this whole thing last week about who's going to the Super Bowl, and I went with Cincinnati as one of my picks. We didn't even get 1 week in, and they look done. Buffalo looks totally done to me. Baltimore, looks great, but then just losing Mark Andrews. Mark Andrews is a phenomenal tight end, and this seems like the time of the year where Lamar seems to get hurt. Philly's got Goddard done for the next 3 or 4 weeks. They will not have him for the Niner game. Right now, if you were your pre-Turkey Day week Super Bowl, what do you guys feel good about right now?
I got it narrowed down to 5 teams. Okay. 2 in the NFC.
Niners, Eagles.
Niners, Eagles in the NFC.
Right.
And in the AFC, it's Kansas City, Patrick Mahomes. And I'm not counting out the Ravens yet. I know the loss of Mark Andrews is big, but I thought Odell Beckham actually looked really explosive last week. Rashad Bateman, I think, has some talent. Isaiah Likely's going to fill in some capacity. And then they're getting that kid Keaton Mitchell going, the rookie running back. I think he adds a dynamic element to him. So I got the Ravens. And then I'm closing it out with the Dolphins, who
okay. So you believe in the Dolphins, even though the Dolphins really don't beat good teams or haven't beaten.
Yeah, and it was a little too close for comfort today, that game against the Raiders. Raiders kind of hung around, but I still think that offense is really explosive. The defense and Vic Fangio, I think, is going to keep getting better and better. Ramsey came back, although I think Ramsey might have got dinged today. But they got some talented players, both on offense and defense. Bradley Chubb and Jalen Phillips. They got guys. I think that offense is explosive. So I got 2 NFC, 3 AFC. One of these 5 teams is winning it.
Kev, what do you got?
I hate to be the NFL casual because pretty much anyone would say this, but there's something about Mahomes and just Mahomes in the playoffs and that team that you just can't count them out. And I think what were you gonna say?
Oh, this leads into one of my, because I was looking at this and getting pretty frustrated about it. So, like Mahomes has never played a road playoff game in his career.
Right.
In his entire career.
Yep.
And the Chiefs just haven't even been that good this year, but yet they're still like.
Their D's pretty good.
Their D's pretty good, but it's like they pretty much played like 2 like legit teams, Dolphins and Lions, and they split those. Then they lost to the Broncos, but they still have just a pretty easy path. After this Eagles game, They're going at Raiders, at Packers, home Bills, which honestly, they're going to kill the Bills, at Patriots, home Raiders, home Bengals with no Burrow, and then at Chargers. Like, how do they? Philly has a really difficult schedule. How did Mahomes and the boys like end up with such an easy schedule after winning the Super Bowl?
Oh,
and they're just going to have
that might you can't even invent an easier schedule than that.
Well, they're playing the North. They're playing the NFC North, which is part of it, and then their 17th game is the rematch game against the Eagles. So that's a tough one. And I'm trying to think what other division in the AFC are they playing as part of that deal?
It's a cakewalk. They're just going to end up with the 1 seed and like annoyingly slither into the Super Bowl.
They play the East, right? So they play the Jets and all those teams. They play the Jets and the Buffalo and yeah.
So Kev, you were going Chiefs, but who was your NFC?
Are we not going Niners? Or is that...
Well, I'm going Niners, but I don't know if you are.
I mean, yeah, I would go Niners, but if I wasn't going Niners, I'd go Eagles. I think that they're the only better. I like the Lions, but I don't know. Goff and it's something about that team seems like they would crumble in like.
They almost lost to the Bears at home today.
Yeah, I mean any given Sunday, but I just mean like in general playoffs. I'm not super confident in the Lions.
Danny, what do you think? What do you got?
Well, I'm kind of stuck on Rye's pre-frustrated comment. I'm thinking of a marketing way to market that. Pre-frustrated, is it like a fabric stain or what? I mean, how do you pre-frustrated? Think about that. I've got the Niners or Eagles and the Cowboys as a fringe possibility if everything went right in the playoffs for them because of their defense. And I know Detroit is not defensively the greatest, but man, their offense is explosive. They got a good offensive line. They could run the ball, and they're got a good passing game with tight end and Amon St.
There's a world where they avoid the Cowboys and then one of the Eagles or Niners and just like only have to beat the one team in the NFC Championship at home.
Exactly. If they get the 1 seed, you never know. So I think I've got 4 teams, but the cream of the crop, the Eagles and the Niners, and I'll take the Niners. That's who I will pick. I picked it last week when we went out in the round robin. I had the first pick. I took the Niners. In the AFC, obviously the Chiefs, but there's a couple teams that could
Texans
that could give them some trouble in the playoffs if they face Cleveland with that defense. I know Cleveland can't score. They can't score, but still, I mean, Cleveland only gives up 10, 15 points a game.
Danny's been hot on Cleveland for the frickin' month.
I don't like their offense at all, but if they could figure out, maybe Tom Brady will come out of retirement, be the savior of their first world championship in Cleveland since win. No,
Art Bustamante says, Larry, you picked the Eagles last week. Yeah, I guess if I'm going with my heart, I would say Niners, Texans. If I'm going with my head, I'd probably go Eagles, Chiefs.
I'll tell you one other team.
Kind of like Daza, who says Super Bowl will be a repeat of last year.
Oh, and then we can all say, NFL scripted. They're just doing it for Taylor Swift.
Yeah. I do like Baltimore too, but let me give you a team.
What if all of a sudden the Chiefs get all these crazy calls in the playoffs and it becomes the Taylor Swift controversy?
Oh, that's never happened before.
Yeah.
Here's the team that a lot of people have already given up on. That
the Giants?
If the baseball Giants. Oh, right. If they get by, if they win 2 of the next 3, they're tough games. But the Bills, if they get through this and get in, they could be scary. Their defense, and if they can figure out the offense, today's game, it looked different. Even though they were playing the Jets, they started to not put all the pressure on Allen and Diggs. They tried to spread it around today and not make Allen and Diggs win the game. And I think they're going to be going with a different offensive philosophy the final weeks of the season.
I mean, you hardly ever see teams switch horses on their coordinators, in November and wind up standing at the end. We'll see how it goes. I think that's going to do it for us. But Kev, we wanted to make sure that we promote our Thanksgiving giveaway, right? So
Right.
go ahead and
Or Mojo.
promote that.
Mojo Fantasy. If you click the link in the description and sign up with Mojo Fantasy, you'll automatically be entered to win 2 jerseys that we're giving away on Thanksgiving. It's a giving season.
Thanksgiving night, we're giving away a Purdy jersey and a Bosa jersey, but you have to sign up at mojofantasy.com and check that link Krug in the description and put your first deposit in. If you do that, you're automatically entered into a chance to win a Bosa or a Purdy jersey of your choice in your size. We haven't even ordered it yet. So everybody do. And from what we've been told, that we've only had certain number of signups. So you have a very good chance to actually win a jersey just by doing this. So go to Mojo Fantasy, check that link in the description, hit the promo code Krug, and everybody who does it automatically is entered into a drawing to win the Bosa or the Purdy jersey when we do a post game on Thanksgiving. I probably should ask you guys, JD, I've already checked with. JD's going to be in Seattle, and he's going to join us. Where are you guys going to be on Turkey Day? Do you should I invite you guys, or are you going Rye? Are you going to be girlfriending, or Danny? Are you going to be visiting with the over 55 crowd and won't have time for us? Baller. I mean, are you partying in Vegas? I mean, should we invite you guys to our Thanksgiving post Seattle game on Thursday night, or what's should we not?
It's going to be a
I'm
short show.
down. I'm down.
It's going to be a shit show?
A short show.
Oh, short show.
Oh, short show.
Hopefully not.
I'm having Thanksgiving with Farhan. He just invited me.
Oh, we'll bring him on. Maybe bring him on. We'll pepper him with questions like, Farhan, I've got one question for you. What the fuck? That's the first question.
I'll be with the fam, but I will not be driving. And yes, send me the link. Whether I show up, I don't know yet.
Okay, you might be in a tryptophan coma, but you could be there.
High probability, but if I'm awake and I'm not, then I'll be there.
That's all right. That's all right. We can even take partials. We can, if I could be there, but it's not no lock. We got senior softball games. I think sounds like he knows me. He says, effing beam is lit, Larry. Your brother's going to have a field day with you on Thanksgiving. Go Kings. See, that's where you're wrong, because even though we're going to SAC for Thanksgiving, we're going to my in-laws on my wife's side. We will not be partying with the judge. We will stay away from the beam. There'll be no Kings discussion that night.
Maybe some Jim Beam.
Yeah, maybe Jim Beam.
Is there basketball on Thursday?
Yeah, JD, what's the basketball on Turkey Day? Is there any?
No, the NBA doesn't play on Thanksgiving. They did for a couple of years, and then they completely gave it up. So they don't do it anymore, but they do have a pretty full schedule the night before and the night after. And yeah, Jesus, the Kings are unstoppable right now. They're back to scoring 130 almost every game and winning single-handedly with their offense. It's like a carbon copy of last year. I think 6 in a row. They won in Dallas tonight. And they're beating everybody right now.
JD, I know this is a Niners stream, but can I at least ask one question on the Warrior front? What are
do
we,
whatever
what
you
are we
want,
gonna
man.
do?
It's your show.
What are we going to do with Klay Thompson, guys? What are we going to do with Klay Thompson?
They
Klay
need to have
Thompson wants a big
conversation
money
with him, man.
extension, and
Well,
Joe wants him, right? They can't do that. Somebody's got to get to Steph and say, Steph, you can win or you can go out with your guys, but you can't win and go out with your guys. So which is it going to be? What do you want to win? What do you want more? You want to win more, or you want to go out with your guys more? Because if you want to go out with your guys more, that's fine. But
What if Steph says, I want to do both. Send me packing.
JD, is that going to be one of the options?
I don't think he's going anywhere talking about
Right.
Steph, but to me, it's still too soon for them to make that decision. I mean, one, they're not going to make that decision for Steph, but they just decided in May and throughout the summer that they were going to ride it out and see how it goes. Like it just, I get it. People are pissed and it doesn't look good. And Klay Thompson has been really bad in the last week. And he was kind of the first couple of weeks of the season, but before that, but I mean, they committed to doing it this way. And so I still think they're a couple of months away from making any kind of trade. I really do. I think it's going to have to get to the deadline or completely flame out, right? It's 6-8 now. To me, if it would almost have to get to a point where it's, 10-16, 10-18, something like that, where you're thinking, then you got to do something drastic. I think they're still in the try to get everybody back and try to get everybody healthy. And it was 6-2, and that can happen again. And I mean, we'll see. I mean, to me, it just looks too hard right now. Steph's got to do too much. Everything's got to be too perfect. The young players are fitting fine, but none of them are stars or pushing that envelope. Like Kuminga, fine. Moody, fine. Play them all. None of them are carrying yet anything. So, like, if you thought that was going to happen this year, get over it, because it's not. And
if Clay doesn't finish with the Warriors, what team would he finish with?
I think he'd love to go to the Lakers. But like if he ends up pissed off and they don't make him an offer that he thinks is respectable enough, I think that's probably where he ends up. I think he probably, like, if he has to take a lesser deal, I think that's probably one of the places he would go. I mean, it's going to be tricky because I don't get the impression he wants to go to a shitty team and get paid. Like, hey, I'll go whoever has the most cap space, send me there. But I also think, we got to see what his line looks like at the end of the year too. I mean, I think that will determine it. He made a big point about, I still shot 41% but you know what, Clay, again, you had just as many bad games last year as you've had. Like, how many times last year did Clay have games that looked like the games of last week? All the freaking time. And, the hot nights carried it inflated his stats to a point where at the end of the year, he could look up and kind of give the bird to everybody and say, my numbers were great. I hit 300 threes and 41%, and don't come down my road. But if you watch this team, as we all do, on a night in, night out basis, that half the freaking time he was killing them. and they didn't win hardly any games when he was bad. And guess what? He's been bad for the last week. They can't win any games.
Right.
So what about some kind of swap, right? We heard Levine. The Bulls gave Levine the option to negotiate some kind of trade, see what's out there. What about some kind of swap? I just looked at the contracts. They're somewhat similar. I don't think there's too much finagling you would have to do.
What else are you giving up, though? If I'm the Bulls, I want more, because Clay's a salary dump, right?
Well, and also, I believe Levine makes 43. I think Clay makes 33. So you'd have to come up with $10 million.
Yeah. So
you'd probably have to throw them Moody and
Kuminga.
I don't want to move Kuminga. I'd rather keep Kuminga.
Clay's contract says 43 from what I'm looking at this year.
But just from a roster construction.
It's 43?
Yeah.
Well, maybe they could be flipped for each other then.
I mean, you probably got to add some picks.
Yeah.
Like, okay, my thing is, like, if you get rid of Clay, as much as I'm like, he should be the one that leaves, you don't have any shooting. Like, I don't understand like this thing that Kerr's doing with like playing Pajemski and Chris Paul and Corey Joseph and Kerr, like all of these guards. And it's like, none of them can really shoot threes. None of them are that good on defense. They're small. And it's like, if you're going to be a small guard out there, especially in a 2-guard lineup, you have to be able to stroke it from 3. And my thinking is, like, the only guy on the entire team that I could even see becoming like a 3-and-D guy that could maybe replace Clay in the lineup is Moses Moody. But he doesn't get any run. He gets the same amount of minutes as Corey Joseph. And when he's out there, he actually does stuff and he looks big. And sometimes they have these lineups with like Wiggins and Kuminga and Moody. And it's like, damn, this actually looks kind of good. This actually looks athletic like the rest of the freaking league that has massive, huge, athletic young guys.
Yeah, I tell you,
it's a tough call. It is a tough call.
Did you guys see I'm sure you did, but why in the world, with 1.2 seconds left, would you not just put guys around the perimeter of the 3-point line and don't even guard the inbounds pass? You got 5 defenders on 4, make him throw it, almost play like a zone. Instead, they fall into their trap and they got guys camped down there near the key and they fall for the screen. You knew a screen was coming. Just stand out there. That's just, I don't get it. Just perimeter. If he throws it across the court, go foul the guy, or he's gonna whatever. But that's just common sense to me. I don't know. 5-on-4, and you knew they had to play a 3, so stand 1 foot in front of on the backside of the 3-point line and make them throw it the perfect pass to get it for a 3, and then foul them on the pass.
It's gonna be a really interesting Warriors season for sure. All right, that's going to do it for us, guys. We're closing in on 2 hours. I want to thank everybody, but first I want to promote each one of your guys' channels and what you guys got going on. First, we'll start with Baller, because Baller's got, let me move Baller into the center square here. Baller's got a big channel. Here it is. Wait, there we go. I'm move myself down there. There's Baller. Bay Area Baller 18. It's behind the underdog, but Bay Area Baller 18 is his channel. I want everybody. We got, almost 1,000 people hanging. Go sign up at Bay Area Baller 18. He puts out great content. Baller, when do you go live next on your channel?
Hey, it'll be going down tomorrow night, right after Monday Night Football. Me and 3 of my buddies, we got the Straight Out of the Bay show. We'll be breaking down, recapping this Niners-Bucks game. I might watch it back a second time, see if I spied anything different, kind of hone in on some different areas, maybe the trenches. But yeah, it's going down tomorrow night on my channel. I'd love all you guys to subscribe. We're on the road to 2K. So,
awesome.
Hey, Larry, thanks for having me, fellas. Love talking it up with you. You guys have a great Thanksgiving, and we'll talk soon.
Hopefully we'll talk Thanksgiving. Hopefully we'll talk to you on Thanksgiving. Baller, Bay Area Baller 18. Everybody go sign up on Baller's channel. Baller's the man. Let's welcome back to the center square Dan Coach Emilio, ladies and gentlemen. They're going crazy for Dan Coach Emilio. It's NorCal Sports Network is Danny's channel. Everybody hit a like and subscribe. One of the things that's coming up here in the next few weeks is the baseball maneuverings are going to happen. And once that starts happening, Danny's going to be going live around the clock. I'll be joining him on his channel. Hopefully he'll be joining me on my channel. We'll be talking a lot about the Giants' moves every step of the way, because what Danny and I have discovered is we're the only credible people that are not sucking up to the Giants that actually speak Giants baseball. So we will be going live talking Giants baseball. Everybody go sign up at NorCal Sports Network. Eric, Los, and all Danny's compadres over there are fantastic. They put out a lot of great content. Danny, when are you going live next?
We'll be going live in about an hour. We'll be going live right after Sunday Night Football. We'll recap the NFL today, recap a little bit the Niners, and then we'll get into a little bit of Giant stuff. Some stuff are starting to fall down a little bit with free agency. Aaron Nola re-signed with the Phillies today.
Yeah, I saw that. And the Giants were one of the teams that were supposedly favored to get him.
Yeah, they were one of the top 2 teams.
Surprised Farhan's not getting any of these guys.
Yeah, geez, surprise! I'm shocked. So, of
course, I just ordered my Cody Bellinger Yankees jersey as well. So
so we, Farhan likes to go out and sign Alex Wood and Anthony DeSclafani for $22 million instead of Gosman. He'd rather go.
I'm just thrilled that Yaz and Slater are back. To the tune of like $9 million. It's like, what the hell is going on here?
And you just know they're elated that the fact that Michael Conforto opted back in. That's just they're elated.
That's money well spent. Danny, good stuff, man. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, thanks, Larry.
There you go. And then of course, Rye. West Coast Bias on YouTube, and Rye, tell us when you're going live again on your channel, and everybody go give Rye a like and a subscribe over there. The channel's fairly new. He just started it up in the last year, but he's building it and it's going great places. So Rye, tell us a little bit about when you're going live again next.
Ooh, yeah, I did. I've just got like a hair over 500 subscribers, so pretty small time potatoes. But I'll be going live either tonight or tomorrow around 3 to recap just all of the NFL. But definitely, I'd also say Tuesday. Tuesday we're gonna do like just a full blown degenerate betting Thanksgiving, like talking maybe even a little college basketball, just Thanksgiving Day gambling stuff. And then maybe you could probably see me live after a Warriors game. The other night I just went solo just for an hour and a half because I saw that.
And that was because that was after the controversial Draymond
Yes.
ridiculous, retroactive. That was just ridiculous.
Oh,
and when I saw that, I'm like, Rye's got to be talking about that. Rye, hopefully you can jump in with us on Thanksgiving, but good luck to you. And we'll send you an invite on Thanksgiving. Good to see you, brother.
Thanks for giving me my flowers.
There you go.
Ryan is
Ryan
him.
Smith.
You are him.
Yeah. He is him. He is him. All right. We'll put JD in the center square. JD, you're here with me at Levi's. When do you go next live on 95.7 The Game?
Yeah, I'm going to be on tomorrow with Steiny and Guru in the 1
What
o'clock
time?
hour.
1 o'clock
hour.
Okay.
Yeah, that's kind of been our regular spot here on these football Mondays. And so I'm going to be on with them and then head over
That's
to
the number one rated show in that time slot in sports talk radio in San Francisco right now.
Indeed it is. And so I love going on with those guys. Those are my guys. And I'll be on with them at 1. And then I'm going to head over to Chase and I'll be on with Warriors Live. I've got the pregame and the postgame. Warriors games just keep coming, man. They play the Rockets tomorrow night at home. It's the 6th game of a 6-game homestand, and they are 0-5 in the first 5 games of the homestand. Pretty incredible. You got to go back to the 15-50 COVID shortened year, the last time the Warriors were this bad at home in terms of a losing streak of 5 or more.
It looks so promising out of the gate, and now everything's crumbling.
They're 6-2.
Yeah, not good. They were 6-2. Now they're 6-8, and the Rockets have been a good young team. The Rockets lost their first 3 games, and then they won 6 straight, and then they lost in LA the other night. James Harden hit a big bucket late. So they're different with Fred VanVleet and Dylan Brooks, and the Warriors have had a lot of Sengun's good player, very skilled big. And so they will play tomorrow at 7:00. And then so I'll be on with the pre and post. And then I'm going to be in this week from 2 to 6. I got a day with Dibs on Tuesday. And then I'm back with Warriors pre and post on Wednesday as they play in Phoenix. I will be doing that from the JD Walnut Creek home studio, pre and post game for the Warriors in Phoenix. And then early morning Thursday, headed to Seattle for the Niners and the Seahawks. And I'm going to join you guys and join the pre and post on 95.7 The Game. And then the Warriors play again on Friday. So this is a busy week. I love it. Holiday time, and glad I could join you guys. As
95.7 Brian says, did I see the Warriors are 7.5-point favorites tomorrow? Take the Rockets.
Back to back for the Rockets tomorrow. I was trying to look who they're playing. I think they're playing right now, or they played earlier. Yeah, they're playing the Lakers right now in LA, and they got a lead on the Lakers 43-42 in the second quarter. So back to back for Houston. Rest advantage for the Warriors.
JD, we'll see you probably within the next 7 to 8 minutes.
Sounds good. Yeah, I'm gonna pack them up, man.
All right, we'll see you down here in a bit. Thanks, JD.
Thanks.
JD's fantastic. Check him out on 95.7 The Game. And then there were 2. And we also have Juan Santiago with this little nugget. He says, Ryan Hensley is a clown for calling out Larry over 49ers beef. Never that serious. I mean, seriously, come on. Come on, Ryan. Can't we all be friends? You blocked me, you blocked Kev, but we never blocked you.
I never even interacted. I never even tweeted at the guy. I'm blocked by association. Blocked by
association. But I did call them clowns, I think, today. So I probably will be blocked for the foreseeable future. There are people that probably are connected to me that were also blocked, but we're not the only ones blocked. I took a lot of, I feel much better knowing that you and I are not the only ones blocked.
I don't really go at people on Twitter, so I don't feel like I should have any people blocked on me. You know,
it doesn't matter.
I don't really.
You associate with me, you get blocked.
I read, and I may like, and I comment, but I don't go that hard on people on Twitter.
No, really you don't. And you don't like when I do either. Jimbo says Kevin was awesome tonight.
I don't like my setup. Yeah,
he's kind of mediocre.
This setup it's uncomfortable. My back's. I was kind of just sitting here like kind of quiet tonight. I wasn't really feeling it.
Well, you're sitting in a room that has the video games, and so the other kids are sitting there going, "When is this freaking live stream going to end so I can go play PlayStation or whatever we got? What do we got? Xbox? What's our system?
I think there's an Xbox in here.
Xbox. So. Woodpit 420 said Ted H2 is a tool, or is there something? Tard.
Hard.
Yeah,
Oh,
well,
wait, no, I didn't.
that's not cool.
good.
What about this one? We got this one from PK Man. He says, Mr. Larry, you talked to your brother about the Beam team? Screw him. Screw him and his Sacramento Kings. I can't. We're not seeing eye to eye. We're not going to speak on Thanksgiving. No. I love my brother, but he's a Kings fan. I'm a Warriors fan. We grew up. It's funny. We grew up in the same house. We were both Warriors fans, and now he's a Kings fan, and I'm still a Warriors fan. So there you go.
Right now, it's 17-12. Minnesota leads over the Denver Broncos.
Oh, really? I'm glad I didn't take Denver. I was thinking about betting Denver.
Denver.
That's going to do it. Let's thank our sponsors, Marin Auto Glass. Do we have where can we get our?
Oh yeah, I took that
sponsors?
down because people were showing their things and I didn't want to block it. There you go.
So marinautoglass.com, 415-883-3030, marinautoglass.com. If you need a new windshield, go to Marin Auto Glass. New York style Italian sausage is phenomenal as well. Yes, the only kind of Italian sausage I will eat is New York style Italian sausage. I was there for the party earlier this week, and man, we drank like fish. And it was a lot of fun. And then thanks to our title sponsor of the Krug Show, Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Check them out in Emeryville and Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week. And by the way, on the 17th of December for Niners Cardinals, Kev will be there, I believe. And we're going to do a meet and greet. We'll talk more about it between now and then. But we're going to do a meet and greet at the Corte Madera Pig and a Pickle from 1 to 5 on the 17th. Niners will be on the road against Arizona. And we're going to do a little meet and greet with the Krug Show Army there at Pig and a Pickle in Corte Madera. So please stop by and say hello. I'll be there. Kev will be there. I'll bring my entire family. We'll have a great time. We'll eat barbecue. We'll watch Niners.
Yeah. And send us a note if you're coming. I was going to say, send us a note if you're coming, just so we can get a head count, right?
Yeah, definitely. We'll do that as we get a little closer.
The Mojo.
Mick,
the Mojo.
wait a second before we get Mojo. Mick E. Wait a second. We just got a bunch of things here. Mick E says, "How was Larry's New York style sausage party? It was awesome. Are you kidding me? It was great. We drank, we ate, we hugged. It was a lot of good stuff going on there. New York style Italian sausage. I love Mike D'Ambrosio, Laura Pezzavento, and all the good people at New York style Italian sausage. Really, really good time. Also, Mojo Fantasy on Thursday night, Thanksgiving night, we are giving away a Brock Purdy and a Nick Bosa jersey in your size. All you got to do is go to mojofantasy.com. Check that link in the description of the show. Make sure you type in the promo code Krug, and they'll match your first deposit up to $100. Everybody who signs up automatically is entered into a drawing to win the Bosa or the Purdy jersey, and the odds are good. The odds are in your favor. We looked at the number of people that have signed up, and it's there are people, but it's not like it's a foregone conclusion. But let's just say this: the odds will be really good that you'll get a jersey if you sign up. So we do have, it's not like you're guaranteed. I can't guarantee it, but the odds are
high.
The odds are high. Also, Underdog Fantasy. Let's tell people about Underdog Fantasy. Today I did my Underdog Fantasy. I think I actually did pretty good, Kev, on my Underdog Fantasy.
What'd you do?
Well, I mean, this is what I got. This is what I had today. Nick Bosa higher than a half a sack. Didn't he have a sack?
Yeah, he did.
Brandon Ayuk higher than half a rushing or receiving touchdown. That's a winner. Rashad White higher than 24.5 receiving yards. What did he wind up with?
That hit.
That hit?
Yeah.
And we're 3 for 3.
It should say. Does it not say on the app?
Oh, well, no, I'm looking at my picture on here. I'm not.
You should be looking.
So Rashad White, receiving yards. Rashad White had 6 catches for 28 yards. So, yeah. Chase Young, higher than a half a sack. He had one. And Chris Godwin, higher than what is it?
54.
No, I can't see it. Oh, there it is. Higher than 51.5 receiving yards. What did Godwin wind up with? He had a terrible first half. No, that didn't hit. So I hit 4 out of 5. So we made money.
Oh, did you do it? Do you do the flex ones? You go flex play?
What meaning you can
power play, or there's like, I forget exactly what it's called. It's like a power and a flex. One of them's like you can miss one and still make money, and the other one's like you have to hit all 5.
Oh, I don't know. I'll have to check it out. But that's still pretty good. We're rolling on we may not have cashed today, but we surely did well. Anyway, that's going to do it for us. I'm getting ready to leave. I'm probably the last person here in the press box. JD's going to walk me out. We're going to go out to the car. But hey, Kev, we'll see you in a bit. Thanks to everybody. Thanks to New York Style. Thanks to Pig in a Pickle. Thanks to Underdog Fantasy, Mojo Fantasy, Marin Autoglass. Next week, we will have a brand new major sponsor to announce as well. They're very excited about that. We can't give away any of the details on that, but that is forthcoming, and that is going to be a very exciting thing for the channel. And I think that's going to do it for us. Everybody have a great night. Kev, we'll see you in a bit.
See ya.
Peace.
Yeah, never met a man I've been scared of. Careful, you gon'